Hello, I'm Allison Hobson, CEO of Graceful Decor. I did a video with a DIY tutorial for a peekaboo teddy bear tumbler. This is my very first DIY tumbler. I will do my best to add the materials I use for this project down in the description box below with the link, and if I do forget any material, I do apologize beforehand. I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to give it a like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy the video. Okay, the first thing I have here is my vinyl that I purchased from Michael's. The color I believe is called Cuppa or Cuppa. I will link it in the description box. Follow along with a tumbler. I cannot remember the size, but I will add it in the description box. The color of the spray paint was Krylon brand metallic gold, and then the fine brown glitter, also from Michael's. First step, I had added my Mod Podge to the tumbler. The goal is to add a fine, thin layer of Mod Podge. You don't have to be heavy-handed like I was and add Mod Podge as your adhesive to the tumbler. You want to make sure you do an even, fine coat of Mod Podge, or if you decide to do resin or tack it on the tumbler, just make sure it's an even coat. As you see here, yes, I did get a bit heavy-handed, but make sure you still an even coat, and you also get the bottom of the cup. If you are going to add any glitter or anything to it, be sure you get also adhesive on the bottom of your cup as well. If not, then take off the parts that you don't want affected by glitter or whatever you decide to use as a covering on your tumbler. Next step, I'm adding the fine brown glitter to the tumbler, and make sure that you get every part of the tumbler that you want covered in glitter. Make sure it is an even coat and not blotchy or have patches in it like some of my areas on the cup did have. Make sure you do your best to get an even coat all the way around the cup the first time. And if you have little areas, you can always go back through and add a little more glitter to the areas where the patches may be visible. checking off the excess glitter on the cup so I don't need any extra lingering on the cup. Next step, I am sealing in my glitter with the resin. The brand I use is craft resin. It's part A, part B, equal parts. I seal in my glitter with my resin, and I let the Mod Podge sit overnight before I sealed it with the resin. Be sure you let the adhesive all seal and harden before you add your next coat of sealant or adhesive to your tumbler. I believe the tumbler dried overnight with the Mod Podge around 6 to 8 hours. Before I begin putting on another coat of adhesive, and this time it's the resin, just to lock in my glitter, but also because of what I'm about to do to it next, I wanted to use the resin for it. Again, be sure that you use an even coat of resin on your tumbler when using glitter. Also, I believe the amount I used was 0.15, I believe, around 0.15 milliliters of resin. So that was not that much I had to use, and it was an even coat and it got the job done. Next, after I applied the resin, I went back in for one more coat of glitter. As you see, I just felt like it was still a lot of visible marks that had less glitter, so I wanted to make it as even as possible on my glitter cup, and there were imperfections on my cup. If you notice towards the brim of the cup where you drink, there was a lot of bumpy action going on, so just try your best to do a thin coat of glitter, a thin coat of resin, so that you won't have rough texture or bulkage on your cup when you're applying glitter or resin. After I let it continue spinning to get the excess off, I went off camera and sealed it with the resin. I let it dry overnight and I sealed it with one coat of resin, and it is so beautiful. I love the shimmer and the shine. It is so pretty. And when you're sanding down your surface, please do not add too much force because you can scrape off the paint and the glitter off of your resin cup, off of your tumbler. So be very careful. You don't have to be heavy-handed with it. after I stated my cup, I did go back through and wipe it down one good time or two with 90% isopropyl alcohol. Okay, I opened up my design space to cut out the patterns I wanted to apply to the tumbler. As you see, I had 3 different bears that I found on Google. I downloaded them and added them to my design space just to make an actual cutout on her tumbler for the shapes that I wanted, the patterns. And this little part that you're seeing is really not necessary as far as me having a whole sheet spread out or design like this spread out to make the designs or the teddy bears to go different ways and all that. I could have done that after I applied it or placed it on the tumbler myself. That would have been less vinyl being cut, but again, that was my mistake. I realized it after I done it. This is just a trial and error for me, but of course you can continue to follow along and watch me as I play with the teddy bears on the design space before I cut it out. And then you'll see I had 3 different fonts to choose. I chose the one I thought would be, perfect for her tumbler, and I believe it worked out well. So as you see, I went through and added the vinyl onto the tumbler on wherever I wanted her name and the teddy bears to go before I had to do the next step. So follow along. Next step, I waited until I thought the cup was fully dried, and I went through and removed every piece of vinyl that I adhered to the cup prior. Please be careful in this process because it is so easy to rip the vinyl and rip your pattern or your cutout pattern on the cup. As you see, I still was not finished pulling up the vinyl. I still had her name and a few more teddy bears on the other side of the tumbler to pull up. I did this, I think, in 2 days time span. I did some toward evening, and the next day I did some toward that morning to pull up the rest of the vinyl from her tumbler. And again, please be careful when pulling up the vinyl from the tumblers. I'm sorry, this is not even vinyl. Be careful pulling up the paint and the vinyl. It's both from the tumblers. Be careful. It is so easy to rip it apart if you're being aggressive with the paint and the vinyl. So please be careful when you're pulling up both the vinyl and the paint from the tumblers. I gave it one quick turn or spin just to see I got all of the cutouts up. I pulled up all the paint and the vinyl, and I did. So now it's time to give it a good coat. But before I did, I added glitter, and that might have been my mistake because I didn't seal it. You'll see why. Okay, I went in with some stickers that I found at Hobby Lobby, some sunflower stickers. They were transparent, which was perfect because I didn't like the white outline that I see on some of the stickers because they're not transparent. So these turned out perfect. If I can find the link for this, I will certainly add it in the description box below. And I know you can see some of the bulkiness on the tumbler toward the top of the cup. Again, that's what I was stating earlier. You have to be careful when you're putting down the resin, when you're putting down Mod Podge or glitter, because it can cause bulkage, especially if it's not sanded down properly. So I had a little, mishaps, but it still turned out pretty. So if you want to add a nice little touch, you could also go through before you put the sunflower stickers or any transparent stickers on your tumbler. You can cut out the clear film around the shapes or around the stickers before you put it on your tumbler, because on some things you can see the clear film still. So just by cutting around the sunflowers would have been an even more nice touch, but I wasn't going to do that today. So yeah, but just to make it a more nicer touch, and you have time to do so, you can always cut out that clear film like you see right there around the cutouts or the stickers to make it a better touch, a cleaner, nicer look for the tumbler. I gave it one more turn so that I can see everything was where I wanted it to be, and it definitely was. So I went on to my next step, which was sealing the cup with some resin. I'm pretty sure it's around 0.12, 0.13 milliliters of resin. As you see, there is a bit of loose glitter on the tumbler, simply because I forgot to seal my cup, at least with some acrylic clear spray paint the day before. So this was loose glitter sitting on top, and I forgot to seal it. So that is why you will see a lot of bleeding and loose glitter surrounding the cup. But the good thing is the results still turned out beautiful. see there is bleeding from her teddy bears and her name because I forgot to seal it. But she still loved it, and I think for my very first tumbler, I did pretty decent. There were some mistakes I made along the way, but just this alone, I love the concept. So I will definitely be giving this another go again, because why not, right? It's so cute. Gave it this final seal, and I let it spin overnight till the day, until it was actually hardened. You see the bleed outs, but again, it doesn't take away from the cup, the concept of the cup. It's still pretty, and here are your final results. She loves her cup, she loves her tumbler. I love the tumbler. I'm definitely going to do this again. I hope this inspires you as well, but enjoy the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe.